Welcome, horror fam, to HHN 365, the Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike, and as always, I'm here with my co-hosts, Duff, Jess, and Jonathan.
We back, all of us.
2 weeks in a row.
In a
Look
row.
Killing
That's
it.
consistency, my friends.
Don't get used to it.
Hey, whoa.
Well, I don't want to get their hopes up too much. We are 365 at the end of the day.
No, you're right. Don't get used to it. Jess is right.
On today's show, we'll be talking about all the recent news and rumors. But before we get to that, as always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365 and on TikTok at HHN365pod. We have an amazing Discord community. The link is in the description, and we have a merch shop at hhn365.com. You can leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. Let's get to our housekeeping.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same as it is every week, and that's that we had another YouTube Live. Another great turnout, another great experience chatting with everyone, and we're going to hopefully keep that going. If you do miss those, they are just posted on YouTube, and you can go back and watch them whenever. If not, hopefully we'll see you there next Tuesday. We usually aim for 8 or 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, and there's no Panther game on Monday or Tuesday this week.
No,
so
we have to wait like 6 whole days for the
They're
next
still doing
series.
well, right?
they're in
Yeah,
the Cup
in the
finals
finals
again
now.
for the
Yeah, they
third year
did.
in a row.
Yeah.
We got to figure out where we're watching that, Duff, because I'm not doing that alone.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We got time.
Never watch alone.
Never
Yeah.
watch
Who's
alone.
365.
Never watch the Stanley Cup finals alone.
Never hockey alone, as our YouTube Live crowd has told us.
Yeah. We're HHN Panthers.
Hello, podcast listeners. This is actually future us. This is going to be, future us to when we were recording this, but still in the past for you guys. Minus Jonathan. It's kind of confusing, but something happened, didn't it, guys?
Yeah, we recorded, all 4 of us miraculously kept it about an hour for a podcast episode, and the HHN god said nay.
No, not long enough. We need to give you something on a Sunday night at 8:39.
Yes, we had to hurry and rush to the podcast mobile. The bat signal went out, and we had to get to the podcast mobile very quickly. So that's why Jonathan is not going to be. You're not going to hear his voice for the next 20 minutes, but he will be coming back for the rest of the show. Something big happened.
Yeah, I think you said bat signal. I think it's more like a Fazbear signal, if you will.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's because, as you mentioned, out of nowhere on a Sunday night, Halloween Horror Nights on their official accounts released Five Nights at Freddy's, saying, just more details to come, but the full description being Five Nights at Freddy's is coming in a whole new way to this year's Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights in both Hollywood and Orlando. More details to come. Actually, with a cool little flashing GIF on the bottom, too. I guess it's not a GIF, it's a video, but still.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this was clearly not planned, right?
We'll get to that. It does seem strange that they would do a more details to come release for their first house announcement. Or is it a house announcement according to some speculation?
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. Just the way this thing is worded, it has made a lot of speculation. But is this a house announcement? Is it not? Is it a special house? Is it going to be in, like? There's a lot of speculation about how this is worded, and
before
it might just be a
to
normal house.
Yeah, it probably is. But before we get to that, I'm curious. How did you guys find and react to a house or a HHN announcement on a Sunday night out of nowhere?
Well, we each have different stories, so you go first, Jess.
So I was making dinner and I didn't have my phone on me. And Eugene said, HHN announced something. And I, matter of fact, said no, and just ignored him. And he said, yes. And he held up the phone and I saw the Freddy Fazbear and I ran away from the stove. Don't ever leave your food unattended, people. I ran away, grabbed my phone and started panicking. And I was like, oh God, we have to record. I need to talk to the guys. I don't know what's going on. And then I just panicked for like 20 more minutes while we all texted about it.
Yeah, well, I had just got my kids asleep, and I was just kind of chilling, relaxing, some, quiet time. And I looked at my phone. I was missing like 30 texts from you guys.
At least.
At least. You guys were planning. They're like, "Oh, we got an emergency podcast recording." And I was like, "Okay."
The Fazbear signal went out.
Yep. Phasmir signal went out, and I hopped in my podcast mobile as quickly as possible.
And for me, it interrupted my first viewing of Mufasa, which, by the way, I hate the music in that. Fuck you, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
You
But
didn't
yeah,
always want a brother?
oh god.
Oh, that is that.
But yeah, that interesting. I had to pause the movie for a good 30 minutes and do some HHN 365 stuff. So uh, I was very confused. I think we have now seen the light of what has caused this, probably, but we'll finish with that part.
Yeah, we were
First,
supposed to be at a soccer match.
yeah, it would have been like just actually, it would have done it in like
Yeah, we would have
halfway
been
through the second
halfway
half or
through.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Eesh.
God.
Well,
Yeah, we were gonna take my kiddos to go see an OCB match.
yeah, good thing that didn't happen.
Well, the HHN gods intervened and said, "No,
They,
you
they
must be
really did.
there when
They
Chad
really did.
tweets."
But there are some speculations going around the internet, and I do want to talk about those first because why not address them? So the first one, actually all of them at the end of the day, are really focusing on this one part that says is coming in a whole new way. So everyone's saying, well, new to Horror Nights, it can't be a regular house, right? What is it? Is it the Coconut Club? Is it like a bar experience? Is it a different, unique house experience, more like Fan Fest nights? Any others? I think there's
I think
Um,
more.
those are the main things I've seen speculated.
I had a thought that I did see on Twitter after I texted it to Mary and I's group chat. Um, the movie Escape is not doing very well right now,
Mm,
and they
Yeah,
could take the least performing one and overlay it.
okay, yeah.
yeah, I had that idea like a couple years ago. I don't know if you
Oh,
remember that.
I
I
don't. That's probably where it
definitely
came from in my brain.
speculated that you would do an escape when this came. You would also come with an escape room. I don't believe it's probably going to happen,
No,
but a couple years ago I had that idea.
it would be cool, and it
It
would
would.
do well for children who maybe couldn't handle the event.
Yes,
That is true.
right.
Just a,
Now, do any of us believe any of that speculation, or do we all think it is just a house announcement and one they probably weren't fully ready for?
yeah, it's a house.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the rumor. The rumor is that there was an event in Mexico, correct? Or are we getting it too ahead of ourselves?
A little too ahead, but we could we can hop into it. Why not? It's all the same. But it started. We'll say Legacy kind of dropped this. I heard this wasn't supposed to happen, and basically Blumhouse fluffed this and leaked it early. If you do some digging, this took place at the CCXP festival in Mexico City, where you may have seen Blumhouse release the trailer for Black Phone 2. Well, they also leaked that uh, Five Nights would be coming to HHN this year. Uh,
No, I have yet to find any like outside sources to prove this is true. Like I haven't seen any
oh,
video.
it's
I
true.
haven't seen any the deadline article that's all about. It does not announce anything about um like Halloween Horror Nights. I have not seen any sort of like outside source that this came out of. Now I believe that it was said, but I haven't seen any sort of like any evidence of it yet, other than Legacy saying it happened.
I have not seen the actual article. I've actually been looking for one that fully says it, but I did see a screenshot on Twitter um, that showed that it was that was included in what was featured.
Okay, so but it's a rumor that it was an accident. We don't know
Yes,
if it was on purpose or not,
yes.
and that is going to always stay a rumor because they're never going to come out and say that it was an accident.
I see a post here from somebody who was at the panel recapping it, and it is the first bullet. It was like one of the first things that they announced
Hmm.
Okay, so
is
they
that it's
do
coming to
say
Horror
straight up
Nights.
Horror
I-
Nights.
I'm
Okay.
sure at
Yeah,
the end of the day it was an accident. Was the accident that they thought it was already announced, or that they said it at all? Who knows?
they might have got their dates mixed up.
Maybe, maybe. Um, so with this being the case, and them just throwing out this hastily slapped together more details coming soon post, this seems like it just kind of threw a wrench in Horror Knight's plans, right?
Yeah, I mean, now that that there's like confirmed evidence that this did this, like that came first. It probably was not on purpose. But it could be something that they organized. That they say, hey, we'd like to announce this, and they put, but probably not.
Yeah, it's also just weird because normally our first big IP announcement comes with single night tickets and something like there's no UK tickets available and like all of that. So the fact that this came on a Sunday night, not at like an opportune time for any kind of social media posting, let's be real. And then no tickets or any information, and the website just says coming soon, but
Hmm.
for both coasts. Like
And
it just
also,
feels weird.
technically, didn't even like announce it as a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the smoking gun, because if this was planned, I think there would have been a coordinated, okay, we're going to announce this first, and then 5 minutes later, we're going to have everything, because they could still do that on a Sunday night. They can still, they can plan the text out and have it ready.
Mhm.
Um, I think we would have gotten a much more clean announcement
Oh
if
yeah,
this was the plan.
they're gonna have a normal house announcement like trailer for this, like they do all their big IPs.
Yeah.
Um,
And
there's
merch.
no way they wouldn't.
They wouldn't
Um,
have dropped that at
yeah,
the
that
same
would have
time.
gone. They wouldn't do like, hey, guess what? This is coming, surprise! But wait for more.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you guys think though, because this was like sandwiched with the second movie like announcement and everything, do you think we're gonna get parts of that in the house?
It's possible. What did it say the release date is? Like December 5th or something
Yeah.
like that.
December,
So a little
yeah.
later than like
December 5th or something.
Exorcist, Believer,
Yeah.
and stuff like that that we've had in the past, but
It
good.
wouldn't be the first time something that doesn't release at all during the event run comes to the event, but it's still not common and would be a weird choice. Maybe small elements that really don't like affect what you know of the film itself.
Mhm.
Maybe,
Right. Maybe
Yeah.
probably not too
like
much.
some teasing, some Easter eggs here or there, that people can be like, "Hey, this was," but I don't think we're gonna get full scenes or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, no. Now I guess the question is, we feel pretty confident that this was something that was flubbed by Blumhouse and kind of forced HHN's hand. How does this affect their announcement? Like, what if this was not planned to be the first announcement? Do they just kind of leave this until regularly scheduled time, or do they force this to the first announcement? Really interesting to think about on their end. They could be really scrambling potentially on how to handle this.
I think, well, whether it was planned or not, I think it's coming. It's gonna be their first announcement now. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna get more information about this house before we get anything else.
Hmm.
I think whether it was planned to be the first or not, I think it's going to, for sure, going to be fully announced correctly before we get something else.
Yeah. I agree with you. It just, I mean, I would believe anything this year. They keep kind of like just pulling the rug out from underneath us, it feels like. So maybe they do announce something else, like even this week. But I think that it would make more sense to like, if they had a full announcement like planned and ready to go this week, still go ahead with that for 5 nights
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
single night
That makes
and
tickets.
sense.
then
And
potentially push it back. Yeah,
luckily for them, we're only 4 days off the rumored first announcement, so
Yeah.
yeah. We
not too
talk
far
about
off.
this a lot in the following episode you're about to listen to.
A lot,
A
Yeah.
a
lot.
lot.
We say a lot
So
of wrong things.
Yeah, we do. We speculate a lot, and it's all wrong.
to be
I think.
fair, still not a house announcement.
Yeah.
Still not a house announcement
Yeah.
officially.
It's just coming to the event.
Yeah.
It is a house though.
But
It's a house.
I think I believe I said June would be the first announcement way back when you took a poll of everyone,
Hmm.
and it is now June 1st officially.
Hmm.
So I believe I may have won.
Yeah, that probably counts as a win for you.
Yeah.
Regardless, you're gonna win.
Yeah,
So
I was 3 months late or early. I don't even know.
and I
yeah,
almost changed it because you guys were very persuasive. I remember being like, "Oh, you guys know way better than me." I'm just,
we were also very wrong.
We
So
were
there's that.
yeah,
hopeful,
yeah.
optimistic.
But you're
So
also, you normally like way more research than me, so I was just kind of just
yeah.
speculating.
To be fair, there's no research you can do on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just The more you research, probably the wronger you are. Look at us.
Right.
Yeah. Gotta go off feelings and vibes.
Yeah.
Now, I'd normally ask, since this is now official, how do we feel about Five Nights at Freddy's coming to the event? Um, I- we've pretty much been talking like this is coming to the event 100% for a month or two at this point. Um, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add that we haven't already said about this property.
Yeah, I think once we start get to the official announcements every year, it doesn't matter whether I was not excited before. Once it's a real, I start to get excited. Um, I think I've been probably warmer than some on this podcast about the potential of this being fun. I'm officially excited for this house now.
Okay.
I think it could not be great, but I could also think there's a possibility that this could be really fun.
Yeah, I like this property. I don't like the movie. So
I don't
I
like the movie either. Yeah,
yeah, but I love the property. I think that they're really fun games, and it's a great gateway into horror for a lot of young people, and maybe people who are older and don't like real horror, gory stuff. But like I'm excited, like you, Mike. The first announcement, I'm like, okay, we're here. It's HHN season. I have a countdown up in my house because it's under 100 days now. Like it's HHN season. We're gonna get construction soon, which I think you say on the podcast stuff. So
Hmm. Yeah, we talk about that.
I really like the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't necessarily like the execution of either the game or the movie of Five Nights at Freddy's, but I like the concept of like a really spooky Chuck E. Cheese. I think that's just
Hmm.
a fun place to make a horror franchise. Whether it's been executed well, it's not necessarily geared towards me though. It's those are geared towards a younger audience. So obviously the
yeah,
execution is going to be a bit younger, and it's not necessarily going to land with me perfectly. Um, but I think an HHN house could be executed well and could really hit nice. I mean, we've had it with the Shitty's Kids, and it was insanely popular, right?
Yeah, it was. A little different to its credit, but I'm going to keep it short because there's a very good chance we're going to talk about this much more in depth if this is announced this week on next week's podcast. But have no affinity for the franchise, didn't like the movie at all, and also have concerns about how they can execute this in a house. So, um, yeah, not going to be high on my hype list to say the least.
yeah,
Yeah. I think honestly for the IPs, it's mid tier for the IPs for me.
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna be
fair.
honest.
That's
hmm
fair.
Some of these IPs I'm a little
It's
worried about.
probably going to be my bottom. Not going to lie, but that's
yeah.
okay.
I mean, look at all the other IPs.
Uh,
For me specifically, this is definitely going to fall
I think
Hmm.
probably towards the
there's
bottom.
two from me that are probably going to be lower
It's fair. That's fair.
with Terrifier. I'll just come out as I'm not necessarily super excited for Terrifier and Fallout. I think the other three, I think Jason and WWE, and then this one kind of falls right in the middle of the other two.
I will say Fallout definitely puts up a fight for being bottom. It definitely
Mhm.
does.
I mean, it could be great. I just, from what I've seen, I don't know how this works when it
Uh,
comes to Fallout.
Now,
Anyway, that's for
what
a whole different discussion.
that is. One last thing before we can stop talking about this. There's one opinion that I'm seeing being thrown around immediately as this announcement dropped, and that is, well, you thought kids in the event were bad before. Just
Yeah.
wait.
hmm
Which probably has some truth to it, to be fair.
A
I
little
think
bit.
this is kind of going to be Stranger Things level, but skew even younger, maybe, and
hmm
also higher numbers. Um, but I mean, it's going to be like that year after year at this point, anyways. That's just what the event is right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably not going to be too noticeable, to be completely honest.
I think it's gonna. I mean, it might be a little bit. I think we might see a little bit more of like 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds being brought to the event by their
Oh,
parents.
hmm
you think so?
I
I
think
think
we
so
are.
too.
I think we're gonna start seeing some. Um, hopefully they stick to just the Five Nights at Freddy's house and they don't take them through Terrifier.
Hmm.
I hope not. No,
But I
think
do see, because I know that when I was a kid, I twisted my dad's arm to take me to a haunted house that was constantly advertised on the radio, just over and over and over again. I really wanted to go. My siblings went in a youth group, and I didn't get to go because I was too young for that youth group, and I twisted my arm, and my dad took me. It worked out. It was great, but it was also, a local haunt in Utah, so it was probably not in the '90s. So it was probably not very scary. But in my head, it was really scary.
Yeah. I don't know. I just try to remind myself that we also get older every year, and the
True.
crowd might feel younger because of that too.
That
Because
is true.
we used to be the young people at the event.
Yeah, none of us were that young though.
No, not that, not 8 or 9, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I definitely get that. I think that's a huge part of it on a typical year. I do think there is some weight to probably this year. It actually does get a
absolutely.
bit younger, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not too concerned about it. It's just something I've become accustomed to at the event, regardless.
Yep.
All right, should we get the listeners back to the present?
Yeah, start up the DeLorean. Let's go back.
Okay. All right, let's start on the West Coast, shall we? What's going on
Yeah,
over there?
yeah, of course. The sun may set there, but we start there. Um, Construction, of course. And Jonathan, tell me if I'm wrong, but like everything we expect it's what's happening.
Yeah. Um there's a couple of things that we've talked about before that are more theories. But everything else is pretty much, it seems like, set in stone at this point. And the first thing we're actually going to talk about is the mummy Q, which was rumored to be, or theorized, I guess, by Kevin, and then ended up being on Horror Night Respect map, rumored to be Friday the 13th. And the new things about this location that we can talk about is that the extended ending. I made a mistake in my Twitter post. I said ending. I meant the extended ending of the house now has black walls. And Kevin pointed out to me, because I didn't realize this, but I guess he's right. Every extended ending in this location has had black walls except for The Last of Us. And that's kind of crazy. That the only one house broke the formula of ending the house with a bunch of black walls.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's the thing you can really see from construction pretty easily. But Kevin, being our friend Kevin, zoomed in the front of the facade and realized, which I would never been able to catch this. On the right, there was a door, and it looks to be a door for a performer that can walk out, in the facade and whatnot. And this being the rumored, Jason house or Friday the 13th house or whatever, what performer do we think would be out here if Kevin's theory of this being Jason's shack is correct? Do we think it'd be Jason? Do we think it'd be someone else? Like, do we have any theories?
It's Woody Woodpecker, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say it's David S. Pumpkins.
I mean, it would make sense that there'd be a Jason Stinger, right?
Yeah,
The Jason-
especially if his theory's correct and it's Jason's shack.
hmm
So, like,
Yeah.
right? Is there even really another option? I guess maybe a victim potentially.
Possibly a victim.
Yeah.
You wouldn't end the house with a victim,
No.
right?
No, this is the beginning.
Oh, it's
Oh,
the beginning?
I thought you said it was at the end.
It's the
Oh no! This is the facade.
Oh,
The black walls ending is the end. But
Oh.
but right
I
now we're talking about like
misunderstood.
the facade of the house.
It could.
Uh,
Yeah, it could start with the victim, I guess.
Yeah, that changes things a little bit. I would say it could be Jason, but it could be just like, yeah, it could be a victim. It could be, just a storyteller type of role of some sort.
John Murdy. He's here to
Yeah.
tell us the legend of Jason.
Yeah. Gather round, children.
Boo. That would make my favorite slasher my least favorite house.
Kevin also had an idea, just a random thought of what if this was Jason's mom as like a ghost, like like calling to him or
Pamela?
something like that.
But
Yeah,
would
I haven't
be
watched the movie, so I don't really know if that's a thing. But
yeah, she
interesting way to
haunts him.
start.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Like
hate it. It would be
Yeah,
unique.
kind of like that.
But isn't like the whole doesn't okay, I'm probably really rusty on this even though we've been talking about it forever. Isn't that the whole thing with the rights is that Pamela's owned by whoever's making the Crystal Lake?
I don't know.
There could be somebody like quote unquote being her, but I don't know if like the likeness, I don't know. Somebody's going to tell me in a DM somewhere in the next week now that I've asked, but I I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend I fully understand the right situation at all. So
Me neither.
No. But something else to talk about, which is really quick, because H Lot South, which we have talked about, being, I mean, it's rumored, but I mean, come on, being poltergeist, for weeks now, feels like almost a month,
months.
maybe more
It's got to be a
months.
couple months probably.
Has to be a couple months. Has now been painted. So if for some reason, you go, I still don't know if that's poltergeist, even though it was the exact same facade as poltergeist in construction. Take a look now at our Twitter and Instagram, because you'll look at it and go, yeah, there's, it's 100% poltergeist because the roof has been painted. It looks like the house has been painted too, to match the 2018 facade exactly. So it still has a little bit to go, but we're near the end of the construction journey for this one. And it's funny because a lot of other facades they tend to wait to do any finishing touches or painting and stuff until it's announced. Poltergeist, they're just like everyone knows what this is already. It's just paint it. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it looks like they just said, "Go ahead, just keep going."
Yeah.
Seriously, we'd hide it, but like,
What's the point?
they know. Yeah,
But
I don't. I have nothing else to say about this.
No,
We've talked
we've
about
been
this for
beating
long
this
enough.
poltergeist like dead horse for so
I just need it to be announced so we can stop.
that part. It's gonna be the last IP that's
Oh,
announced.
you know
because
it's gonna
a
be late.
repeat.
You know it's gonna be late.
Yeah.
definitely. They're gonna shove Scarecrow and Poltergeist in one announcement and just be like, "Oh, here they are. Here are the repeats. Goodbye."
Yay.
Sigh.
All
Well,
right.
I think we can move on from Hollywood construction, but we could stay in Hollywood. Jess,
Murdy tweets! Murdy tweets!
that's right.
Somebody else.
So as always, we do have some Murdy tweets, and not actually. I feel like we haven't done it a lot recently. Never
No.
mind. But as we like to, we do have some Murdy tweets to cover. He did have a fun little gimmick he played this week on Twitter, as he tends to do every so often. This time it was him posting GIFs where he was literally saying these are not hints for HHN 2025. However, he did post one GIF where he said this is literally a hint for HHN 2025. And that was of Herbert Cowboy Coward. And it really seems like that's probably a hint towards Fallout.
Because Cowboy, Fallout, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Still haven't watched it.
I don't even know who this guy is.
No, me
Herbert
neither.
Coward.
No idea.
Herbert Cowboy Coward. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I thought it was Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh,
That's your
he's just like a rednecky guy. I
Well, with
looked
a
him up.
name like Herbert Cowboy Coward.
Is he real or is he an actor? Like, what is he?
I think he's real. Yeah, he's
Oh.
real. He's a real person. He died in January 2024.
Oh.
He is an actor, but he played the sadistic. Oh, he's from Deliverance. He's the one of
Oh.
the two mountain men from Deliverance.
Oh. That is that man. Cool.
Now, here's an interesting question. This kind of came out of nowhere, until we'll get to another tweet that came shortly after, a little bit after, in terms of HHN news or rumors or whatever. But this kind of came out of nowhere. Why do we think, assuming this is a hint to Fallout, which I don't know what else it could be a hint to, but to be honest, Murdy, Murdy is a tricky being and could be meaning something else. Who knows? But assuming that's what this is, why would he randomly just do these strings of tweets and then post something that's actually a hint towards something and then that was it? Like it wasn't part of a question and answer. It wasn't part of like a gimmick that revealed a lot of stuff. It was just like a random, gift that was probably referencing Fallout.
Why? I don't know. He's John Murdy, man. He just does stuff like this.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Um, I'm reading this guy's Wikipedia now.
Uh-huh.
This is not what I think it is, but I think it's really interesting that he uh, appeared in a film and then played something in Ghost Town the movie. So,
Mm,
Ghost Town,
Mm.
Hollywood's tackling Lightning Gulch.
no.
No,
I
they're
get
not.
I get like White Six vibes from this too,
Oh, okay.
because so it's probably Fallout just because of the cowboy thing, but he can also be a hint for like if they get a pure like the Wyatts and the Fireflies take on that that very much fits, I think.
Hmm.
Mm,
M-
Yeah.
My theory is that whatever this is referencing, whatever this GIF is, because the day after he posted this, he did. We'll talk about it, but he did the pricking of his thumbs. He did by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. He sort of made a whole tweet saying that he's going on vacation, but while he's away, he's gonna he's gonna do by the pricking of my thumb sort of in advance because when he's on vacation, likely something's gonna happen, which is 9 times out of 10 a house announcement unless something goes wrong. So my theory is that whatever this GIF is referring to is the house that's going to be announced because they seem pretty close together.
ooh.
Yeah, that makes
That's a good
sense.
point, actually,
That's
Jonathan.
actually
I
a
didn't
very
even.
good
I
point.
was not thinking that way at all. But yeah, like, why would he time it that way, right?
Because there
Yeah.
was nothing in between the tweets. It was literally that tweet, and then a day went by, and then the next tweet, which it's kind of suspicious.
Yeah, so he's probably teasing whatever the first announcement's going to be.
I
Could
got. I gotta say, I don't have a ton of faith in them announcing stuff in a way that looks like it makes a ton of sense to us. But Fallout as the first announcement feels like it makes no sense.
No,
no.
not at all.
Yeah.
So naturally, it's gonna happen, right?
I mean, it does make sense in a way that it's like an IP that's like not linked to Universal in a way. So it's like one of those IPs that it's like, okay, it's contractual with Amazon Prime that we announce it um, at this moment or whatever. It gets like the biggest push because we told them it would or whatever. Like, so it makes
Maybe.
sense in maybe in that way. Because sometimes when we get those like IPs that there's a big like you know partnership with like Netflix and stuff that they push. Okay, we'll give it a big push and
Yeah.
we'll announce it first.
Maybe it was contractual to help them land the deal too, to put that importance on them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
a
don't
good
know.
point.
So, something I just researched, you guys might have heard my typing a little bit. Apparently next week, or I think, yeah, Sunday, June 8th, is the Xbox game showcase. Where I'm assuming just it's sort of like how PlayStation does it. They
Hmm.
announce a lot of games and stuff coming in the future. And I also did some more research, and it's looking like apparently, I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm not a gamer. That Fallout 5 will likely be an Xbox exclusive.
Hmm.
Um,
Mm.
so maybe if it is Fallout, and that's what the hint is, and Fallout, announces, what everyone has been speculating next week. Legacy speculated last year. I think we're all sort of, or last week. I think we're all sort of on that train by now. Maybe that's why it'd be the first announcement. So then, when the game, is announced or whatever, they can tie it into the show. They can tie it in the house, make it a whole Fallout like
Yeah.
little segment. And
Time make a timing where they announce it all. That makes a lot of sense. Where you're announcing this new game and you're going to time the announcement with the announcement of this new game. That makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah,
that's the only reason I could see Fallout being the first announcement because it's a weird choice.
it would have to be something like that because I think this year there's legitimately, bi-coastal wise, 3 headline IPs, and Fallout is not one of them.
No.
No.
So
No.
yeah, if it goes first, a little weird, but I feel like it would have to be something like what you just brought up. Like maybe there's gonna be a panel. Um, Even if they don't bring it up, it's that synergy of like, well, we're talking about Fallout 5 now, so
Hmm.
it's on your mind. Now you want
That's
it. Now you want to pay
two.
attention.
Sorry, Duff. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
That's two big IPs that are, well, rumored IPs, speculated IPs right now that are coming. that have something big within 24 hours of each other because WWE has Money in the Bank on the 7th.
Oh.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't know if the Wyatts are going to be a part of it. I don't think we know that yet. But I mean, Alexa Bliss is. So
Could we get
just
a double
interesting.
announcement?
I
Those
don't
haven't
think so.
happened in a long time.
Not with two
Like
IPs.
two IPs like that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, especially because those IPs like are not. There's no synergy between those two at all.
Yeah. The only time I remember it happened in recent years was a weird situation with Texas and Bride. That did happen, but technically Bride already existed as a house, and I don't, like there was a whole announcement for it, but it was that's a weird random situation. I don't know if they do
Yeah.
something like that again.
Oh, and that's also the week of the Friday the 13th. That
Oh,
Friday would be
Announce all
Friday
three
the 13th.
IPs.
That's 3 of the major IPs.
I do think that getting Friday the 13th announced on Friday the 13th could be likely.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
So we might be getting a lot of announcements coming quickly.
We
We'll
did
see.
get assume that they were going to be boom, boom, boom after Epic.
Yeah.
Again, if we're sticking with
Speaking
our June 5th, the
Yeah.
rumor that that's the first one, then look at maybe next week, Friday the 13th. And then after that, on the 20th, you have the panel at Spooky Empire. Like, that
Oh,
is
shit,
a
yeah.
potential literal boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Shit.
And we think it's going to be an original announced at the panel, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any
Mhm.
chance they announce an IP at the
No.
panel.
No.
Especially because it's at like 5 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
But yeah. So the last Murdy tweet here to talk about is something I didn't know until someone pointed it out on Twitter, which was like, "Oh, this is interesting." But apparently they added TVs to the sort of inside queue at the Ube venue. I'm gonna call it the Ube venue. It's fun. For the Star Trek experience they had at and FanFest nights, the Star Trek's house, they had TVs in that area instead of like projectors. And apparently Murdy told somebody, he just said, "Yeah, I told them to keep those TVs." So maybe instead of
Interesting.
projections in the inside queue, like they have been doing in the past, they just put whatever they want to project on the TVs.
Mhm. Didn't in the outside portion they already had TVs, right?
Yeah, and the outside they did. This
Mhm.
is like the inside
Oh,
where
one
you
true.
would
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the projection like on the wall on your right.
I mean, it'll make a ton of sense if they're already there. Why not just use them? It's
Mhm.
something clearly in the past they've wanted to put that kind of those like pre-show style videos in the queue, and if you got TVs, utilize them.
I don't
Mhm.
think we ever walked through that portion, right?
We did, but we like flew
Um,
past it, right?
Flew
In
past it.
RIP? Or no?
yeah, I mean, yeah, we never got stopped like in that area in RIP,
Yeah.
but you walk through it. Yeah,
You walk through. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. They like walk you through it.
yeah.
What's on the spec map here?
Isn't it Fallout? Let me see. I
think
think it
so.
Wow,
is.
almost like some Amazon Prime ads could be rolling.
Yeah, I think it's Fallout. I could be wrong,
Trailer
but
for season 2 coming soon.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
know it.
Oh yeah.
Fallout has a lot of visual media of like just the Vault Boy and propaganda and just funny, like, just funny cartoons that they could put on those TVs. So, I mean, that actually would make a lot of sense for. Yeah, it is Fallout. I double checked. It is Fallout there. So that would actually make a lot of sense unless they just wanted to do the show and just show scenes, but I hope that's not the route they go.
It'll probably be a combination of both, I'd expect.
Mhm. But yeah, Murdy tweets.
Goodbye, Murdy.
Bye, Murdy. Did you see that they're calling is it Mega Movie Summer at Universal Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to slide that in there. Interesting when there's a mega movie parade on the other coast.
Make a movie.
Mega movie.
Trademark, copyright.
Speaking of the other coast, what's going on in Orlando?
Well, mostly news at this point. As we've talked before, kind of feel like we almost know the lineup at this point. Thank you, Spec Maps. But there is additional news to add on. And this one's kind of going to make you think about one of the things we saw on the Spec Map, and that's that Regal, the cinema chain, has launched a Halloween Horror Nights sweepstakes where guests who buy tickets to Megan 2.0 will have a chance to win a trip to HHN in either Orlando or Hollywood. So naturally, what does that mean for the event? Because clearly there's some relationship there. Obviously, there's always a relationship with Blumhouse and Universal. It's just naturally part of what they are. But the fact that they would actually branch out to a separate chain like Regal and really put that in there. Is it coming to HHN? Is it just Blumhouse? Is it Megan?
I think it'll have some sort of thing. I mean, they're obviously going to push Megan hard, right? I think it's a digital release will probably be around that point in time because the movie comes out in July, correct?
I believe so.
So yeah, they would be pushing its digital release pretty hard come that time. So I imagine that Megan will have some sort of. I don't think it's going to be a full scare zone or anything, but I think Megan will be featured.
Hmm.
I had a thought about Megan just now. Could that be Dead Coconut? Like fully Megan this year instead of like just Blum and like how it was last year? Because that could be, I mean, they could do like a full dance show with them and like actually be able to control
Hmm.
them not getting mobbed by people.
Yeah, that would make sense. The problem with Megan is that it's Megan 2.0 doesn't seem like it's a horror movie at all. It seems like it's more of an action movie, right? Obviously, like the first one was horror, so you can tie it into that. But this new Megan movie just does not seem to fit necessarily with the vibes of the event. But who knows?
Yeah.
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 Would I put it past them to like make Dead Coconut Club Megan though? No, I wouldn't. It's still some cross promotion, and
Yeah.
they love that. So
I'm just worried it makes the Blumhouse rumor for the tram at Hollywood more likely.
yeah, it
Mm,
probably does. To be honest.
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
Or just a Megan tram.
Oh God.
Wow. No.
I wouldn't put it past them. But like, isn't Blumhouse technically already at the event this year?
Yeah,
Or
they
speculated,
are
rumored.
with Five Nights at Freddy's. They are at the
Mhm.
event, and I
Right.
guess there's no other movie they could promote because the actual FNAF sequel comes out in December.
Oh
So
yeah. I don't know.
it could
But
be a case of just Blumhouse is already there, so this is like the closest movie they could do for a sweepstakes. Um,
Mhm.
I kind of hope maybe Megan would be, sort of designated to the Dead Coconut Club in Orlando, and then in Hollywood to the show because they've had a Blumhouse show before. Um, well, they do have The Purge, which is also Blumhouse.
yeah.
But the DreamWorks theater show, and do something like that, and just stick Blumhouse there and call it a day. I don't want anything more substantial than that, but I'm really afraid about this potential tram. I'm really afraid.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume this is my guess. It's gonna be Dead Coconut on our end, and it's gonna be the show out there. That's what I hope. That's what I'm guessing. I will not entertain any other ideas at this point.
That is definitely the least harmful to us. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just
It's
vibes.
very interesting to me that the two big Blumhouse movies this year are getting both a summer release and a Christmas release. That they've basically just kind of bypassed the Hollywood. We're gonna have they're gonna be our big horror because normally the big horror movies of the year come out around Halloween time. They have decided to go bypass that and really go for summer pushes and holiday pushes. So they
Mhm.
expect these to be really huge movies. That
Yeah.
is what it says to me.
I mean, they're probably the two like most like mainstream properties they have right now too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
makes
That and
sense.
Wicked, like that's probably their other Universal's other really big property they
Oh,
have.
Universals. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's Thanksgiving this year. Good part
Is
two.
it
Yeah.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah. For good is the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any other Universal properties coming out this year that are. How to Train Your Dragon, I guess.
Hmm.
But
Mm,
other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like horror in general has just kind of shifted like more towards summer and like spring releases as a whole in the last couple years, anyways.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of where we're at. And I don't want to say that's because of HHN, but I think certain like companies like Blumhouse, it maybe that's kind of in their thought process too. Because like look at what happened with Exorcist Believer. Good house, but they had to go off of a movie that is not what came out.
Yeah, that's true as well. All right, what do we have next?
So we actually got something, I guess, technically official from HHN on both the Orlando and Hollywood accounts. First, they tweeted static videos. Traditional, we're used to this. They've done it, what, 3 out of the past 4 years or something, 4 out of the past 5, something like that. Um, and as usual, there's a little something hidden in it. Luckily, this is not one of the situations where you sat there all night watching it. The video's like 18 seconds, can handle that. Um, the thing you will find in that first teaser, the words "Live the Horror" appear, but that's all they had. So shocker.
Wait, you're telling me it didn't have a hidden David S. Pumpkins in there? Because I looked and I saw him.
Looks like Tom Hanks. That was my favorite comment. Oh, Rhea's really upset
There's
about
some
that
good
comment.
ones. So yeah, so that's all that came with it. And you would think, okay, so next week they're probably gonna give us another one. No. The next day we got another one, but this one would be on Instagram, and Threads, something like that. And this one was just a picture of Static, and it has like a very clear like hidden figure in the back that kind of looks like a pumpkin question mark,
I guess.
You saw a
Really?
pumpkin in there?
sort of.
You saw a pumpkin? I didn't see any
Yeah.
pumpkins.
I
I
saw
mean,
like an angle at the top.
yeah, it's very not clear what it is. It's just clear that there is something supposed to be hidden in there.
I need a better look at this.
Um,
Do we
yeah,
have it on our Twitter?
I think we only put the fake one,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
The
Just the one with David S.
one
Pumpkins.
with the one with David S. Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
Here's the thing with Static, like posting pictures and hiding things in. Remember, what was it, 2 years ago with 32? They did the Static, and inside there was a figure of like a sort of clown-esque character, and even we were like, could this be the icon? Because it was like pretty clear, like it was the only clear image in there. And no, it was just B-roll of some clown that they had. So like, I don't know if any of this ever matters, and it's just getting people excited for whatever's gonna happen next week. I don't think anything's actually hidden in that Static that's important. Like "Live
No,
the Horror" isn't important. Like it's just a phrase they might put on some merch, maybe. you know
I would
so
say there's about a less than 1% chance that either of these have any meaning towards the event at all.
mhm.
They're just their typical, like, yeah, spooky, static, woo, announcements coming.
Yeah, I'm just happy it didn't say "Never Go Alone" in the first one. I'm just so happy.
I thought that's what it would say.
That's what I assume. That's what it said. That's why I didn't look too hard.
I woke up because since I'm on night shift, I woke up at like 7 p.m. and then I saw that they posted this, and I went back to sleep. I'm just like, I can't with the Static. Like this, I get it works. It's a good marketing strategy. Because everyone talks about it and goes, "What's inside of it?" and spends hours looking inside the Static and seeing things because you're gonna see things after you look at Static for a long time. It's gonna happen, but these aren't anything. They're just, "Hey guys, we're gonna make an announcement soon. Be prepared for that." And that's all they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's
100%.
it's just convenient that like most of the IPs could relate to Static. It's
Mhm.
just really good engagement bait.
Oh, it's so good because literally the community just goes insane.
Yeah.
Like they do every year when this happens, and people complain like, "Wow, this is so lazy. They keep doing it." It's like, well, look at the
It
engagement. Of
works.
course, they're
Yeah.
gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, like I've seen people reach out to us and be like, "Hey, this ties to basically almost every property."
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
So they're gonna keep doing it as long as this is the reaction they keep getting. And at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal because it's not even part of the actual marketing. It's just like social media teases, and that's it.
yeah,
So who
Mhm.
who cares? I guess at the end of the day. We'll see what the actual aesthetic for announcements looks like, hopefully in less than a week now.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
So,
Yeah.
Nope.
We're getting close. I'm getting excited. We're like right there.
mhm. Yeah, that's the one thing the Static did. It reminded me that, oh yeah, this is real. We're about to get something, huh? Thanks, Static. Appreciate you.
HHN is finally here. Epic Open. We don't have to think about that now.
They're like, oh yeah, we can log into this account again.
It,
You know what it is? Ever since I got on Monsters, I'm just like, oh, now I'm in HHN mode. I'm past Epic. I've moved past it. I got over it.
A little Wolfman slobber is all it took.
Oh my god, he spit right in my eye. Whew. God, that ride is so good, y'all.
it's a 10 out of 10 attraction.
Oh, it's so good. We rode it 5 times.
I still need to get on it. I have not been to Epic yet.
Mike, I didn't feel bad because there weren't that many people around us, but the first ride through, I was so overwhelmed. I was like just screaming out things. Like it just was coming out of my body in the worst way.
Yeah,
It's
I've heard
a loud
nothing but
attraction.
great
It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but great things.
It's so good, dude.
Can't wait to see it.
No, but the static
go
does
ahead.
remind people because you're right. Like Epic is happening. They've been completely epic this whole time, and now this is the moment where HHN's like, all right, we can pop out now. It's time. You know, we're allowed to. Epic open. We're all good. And I think that is the best part about the static is that it's letting people know that you know, the focus is shifting for at least a little while.
Mhm.
Oh,
It is time.
Is that what HHN's doing? They're just trying to find the right channel for an announcement. That's what this is insinuating.
Yeah,
so-
I
I
guess.
guess. That's the only way I'm going to look at it now because I have no time to look at these static things. I wait till we post what it says.
There's nothing to even look at. It's okay.
Yeah, I have a full-time job. I'm one of those. I'm employed. Tell me what this means.
But that's all the like news side of things that we have. However, we do get to talk a little bit of construction in Orlando, which is kind of rare until we start getting into the scare zone construction and lighting rigs going up, which honestly should be very soon too. But this is actually regarding a house, and this would be a picture from Bio Reconstruct over a Fast and Furious tent. And in the larger outside portion that they have this year, you can see what is a yellow Volkswagen Bug.
So this is for Friday the 13th.
Correct. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it was already rumored to be. This is where the rumored location is. Now we have this. So I don't think there's any doubt anymore that we're getting this at this point.
Do we know what movies this is featured in? Is it
Believe
featured
it's
in
the
all
third.
the third?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The
So
third.
yeah,
film.
it's a very specific bug that was featured, and this is obviously that specific one. It makes it very clear what it is.
Yeah, 100%. And like that, like you said, it's an iconic like part of that film, and like it's outside the cabin, and like it just kind of gets me excited because we're using that space in a little bit of a different way, more room, but a whole car out there now. Like, what does that mean for what's the pathway? I have so many questions about Fast and Furious this year.
And actually, I think that's a good way to look at like what this means because we've talked about how much additional space there is in the outdoor portion. Um, if you look at this photo and just think about what the size of a Volkswagen Beetle is, look how small it looks in that space. Like the outdoor space is pretty large. So I'm very curious how they're going to make that work in Florida in the rain.
Hurricane season.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like opening night, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be completely storming and pouring, and it's going to be awful weather. And what happens to the outside portion? Like, can they really build stuff to last in that environment? Outside all the time, like how much are they going to have out there? There's some decent questions to be asked here.
Yeah. And like, so I don't know about you guys, but then, so if I get Express this year, if it's an option, we'll get into that in a little bit. But like, I wouldn't want to use my Express if I know that actors aren't going to be in that portion, if it is much bigger now and like significant to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like you have to be even more strategic now with it too.
Yeah. Watch the weather forecast.
Yeah. I don't know. Just so many questions this year.
And then just like general use of the space. Like, can you do much more than just like make it like woods?
Right.
Maybe like a few generic props out there with it, but like what temporary structures can you put up that would be safe outside in the winds it'll have to face and the weather elements it'll have to face?
Is this the place where they had the Chucky
Mhm.
the Chucky guy, the face character guy?
Yeah.
But a
That's so
lot
bad.
more,
Yeah, it's bigger.
Oh, it's like way bigger now.
way
The
bigger. So
tent is
like,
like all the way to the gate, right?
yeah, so like you know how during Chucky you would have like basically walked through this small transition open hallway. Well, now
Right.
once you walk through that space, it's just more outdoor space until you get to the tent a bit further down.
Oh, so it's like a large portion.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. It's probably it looks like it's probably the equivalent of what would be like at least 3 rooms total, I'd say.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like a whole outdoor.
It's
It's gonna be
big,
like a whole outdoor portion.
Yeah.
which we need for Jason, in my opinion. But also, okay, so I just had a thought too. What if we are going like the Legacy of Leatherface route with this, like we've like speculated, and it's not like it is the car outside the cabin, but maybe it's like Jason's graveyard of like his trophies.
Mm.
Mm.
That could be cool
Okay. Yeah, that's more
in the
fun.
forest. Yeah, like a more original like concept of that, and not just like the car outside the cabin from the third film.
Mhm.
I really hope it's not that. That's not as exciting to me.
Yeah, that'll be a fun and like you said, if this does go an original take, I feel like they wouldn't just want to create such a basic scene. You know, they'd probably want to have more fun with it, and that's one way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
It's so weird because the outside portion both makes me more hyped for this house, but also less hyped. Because like outside makes so much sense for Jason. So much sense. Like there's barely any other property that it makes more sense for. But like just what happens, with the weather, what happens here? It's it's an interesting question, and I don't know whether to be excited that the size of almost 3 rooms will be outside, or scared that when it rains or pours, 3 rooms of the house will have nothing. So basically, that amount of size. So I don't know. I'm sort of in the middle on this.
Eh, eh, I want to say I'm in the middle because I am curious, but like I'm also way more concerned than I am curious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm concerned that how they're gonna be able to make it feel like more than just like a parking lot with trees, and a VW bug set out
Hmm.
set.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike.
Yep.
Like with sight lines and everything. Like, how are you gonna deal with that?
This is literally one of those things that I guess we're just gonna have to wait 3 months to really see what it is, huh?
Yeah. Oh my God, in 3 months will be an opening weekend.
We will.
Oh
We will.
Shit.
shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
3 months. We're
it's
close.
here. It's here.
That's crazy.
We got a whole rainy construction season to go.
Yeah.
Where I show up, get photos of lighting rigs, it pours on me, and I leave. Can't wait.
Excited
all
for you.
Thanks.
all the pictures are just like water, like on your lens.
By the time we get to HHN, you don't have a phone anymore.
I've made it every season. I'll figure it out. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
Get a little phone umbrella.
I hide when it rains.
Don't we all? We're
Yeah,
Floridians.
it's true. I know how to handle this. Get away. But of course, that's all we have for construction now. Like I said, though, that whole like lighting rig and like early scare zone construction, like we're probably like a week away from that starting to happen. So that's
Oh
exciting.
yeah.
It's
Oh my
exciting.
God.
All right. Well, it
Definitely
looks like we
excited.
have one more piece of rumor, which this one's going to be quite the topic. I
I don't want
think.
to talk about it.
I
Mm-mm.
think.
No.
No.
This is going to be very controversial.
So, actually, this rumor was kind of spreading like about an hour before we started recording. Like it started off on our Discord server, and I'm like, where did this come from? But no one backed it until it went on the Reddit, not on the Reddit, but the Inside Universal forums, and I'm like, where basically there's a rumor being spread in the community right now that was eventually backed by Legacy. At least he recognized the rumor, so we can talk about it. Um, and that there would be no express option for multi-night tickets. So for the frequent fears, the rush of fears, um, no add-on for express where you can use express every night. And I know last year this happened because they sold out in like an hour. But this year, I mean, the rumor is they wouldn't even be for sale at all. And I know a lot of us have thoughts on this.
Yeah, yeah, we do. First of all, I thought they were going to go the opposite direction. I thought they'd lax the restrictions um, and the cap they put on it at least a little bit. It felt like last year the whole purpose of this really seemed to be sell more single night express, um, and express was just empty. Like it was just empty every single night. Which when you had express, great. When you're in standby, makes it worse for you. So not only did it feel like they made not the money they wanted off that decision, but it probably pissed off people in standby more than if they would have just had more express people. So like I just obviously I don't have the numbers they look at and the analysis they do, but I just don't see from the consumer side and our experiences how this makes sense for either party.
Yeah. My question is, how does like eliminating like a majority of your nightly express, which I understand it probably is a lot with the locals, but like moving them into standby, how does that help with like optics and capacity and like everything? That just means your standby queues are even more full.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know. Um, I've talked about it a lot. I was one of those people who did not get express last year because of the debacle and everything. Like, I have been planning better financially this year to be able to buy it the moment it comes out, which I know a lot of people are doing that, and it's probably going to be like a panic thing. So I hope that it's not just something to like worry all of us so nobody like panic buys all of them, but then everybody's going to panic buy without express, and then you're going to have a line all the way to IOA at guest services to
Hmm.
upgrade if you do offer it. I just worry like we're we don't know. I is the Are we speculated to get the Lagoon show back on the map? Was that on this or no?
Nope, it's
Nope.
not on the
Yeah.
map.
So we're still one show, like possibly losing a zone based on like current rumors and everything. And you want to move all of us into standby? Like it just sounds like a shit show, in my opinion. And last year's standby was already a shit show. So like you couldn't do anything, especially like locals who like I only come for a couple hours because I have to work in the morning and I have to drive a little bit for work, so I can't be out till midnight every night. And I know that that's not everybody, and that's okay, but that is a big majority of the locals at least. So you go for a couple hours, and having express gives you the ability to do a couple things and leave. I was only able to do like one or two houses a night last year, which yeah, I'm grateful to do that, but like I choose to spend my money on what I can for the luxuries that I can. And that's what I wanna do. And they're kind of just, like, taking that option away if this is true. And I hope that's not.
Yeah. No, it would suck majorly. And I think something universal, I don't know if they're prepared for. I really don't know, but I think there's a lot of people in the community who go to HHN after work, stay for a couple hours and leave, and that's all they can do. And I think lot of that portion of people are going to just stop going. Like they'll go one day and that's it. I've talked with people who have said I won't get a frequent fear if it happens, and not like a out of their ass, like we were talking about, last week. No, no, just straight up like no, there's no reason for me to, because the event's so busy already. Without Express, I can't experience it in the way that like I need to, or I want to, So they're just not gonna do it. And it stinks. I think the reason why HHN is so popular among locals is so many get the express so they can do all the houses, drink, eat, have they so much time to enjoy everything the event has to offer. And that's why the event is so popular on social media now. A lot of it is the locals. A lot of it is the people who go every day. I think that percentage of people who go every day will diminish like exponentially. Last year, people were complaining, why doesn't this year feel interesting? Why doesn't this year feel good? What's wrong with this year? And yeah, there were a lot of problems with last year, a lot of things with thematics and, some house design and in the scare zones being kind of mostly not very good. But I think the main problem with last year was the express debacle. Not offering it, some people having it, some people not. The whole, like groups being split up. Um, and if they just don't offer express at all, I think that even makes the problem worse. And I think people, no matter how good the year is, no matter if there's great scare zones and great houses and the thematics are tied together and there's shows everyone loves and this and that, um, I think a lot of people will be going at the end of this year. There's something missing with the HHN. I'm falling out of love with it. I'm not liking it anymore. And it'd be because there'd be no express. And that would be the answer to that question.
Uh, Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. I don't necessarily have a ton to say. I think if this happens, I will have a ton to say. Until it happens, I- I'm just skeptical that this will happen. I think after what happened last time, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Like if they do this, that would be my main thought here is that like they didn't end up selling out single nights express for most nights which last time when they cut this. So I can only imagine it's going to be worse if they do this. And that's just leaving a ton of money on the table. I just have a hard time believing this. If it does, it definitely changes the event for a lot of locals and how they do it. I think people will still go. It's just going to change the way that people go to the event.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just something they've offered for quite a while now, and it's how people are accustomed to experiencing the event if that's how they've been doing it. So, um, and if you've gone with Express and then also not gone to the event with Express, you know how different it is. So, like, fully changing the entire event run in someone's experience in the worst way, I I just don't see how that's a recipe for success at all. You can't kill off your local support. You can't do it. And obviously, there's plenty of locals who don't get the express add-on and never have, and this won't really affect them. Other than I do wonder what this does to standby lines if you're pushing more
And
standard frequent fear. Um,
yeah, I was going to say it does affect them.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we'll see how that pans out. I hope it's not true. Again, I'm one of those people who's become accustomed to experiencing the event with Express, and we pay a premium to do it, and it's well worth the money to me. Um, so not having that option would definitely hamper my experience, just because I mean it's the I don't want to say lesser experience, but it's an experience that suddenly has a lot of waiting in line, and a lot more frustration, and probably a lot less time I'm going to spend at the event, which means less food, less drink. So
Yeah. You just have to plan your night more. And for some people, that's not what they want to do.
mhm.
And it is
Yeah.
going to make standby miserable as somebody who was in the trenches last year.
And the event bet if this happens, the event better hope to, that their scare zones are actually good.
Right.
Because when you don't have express, a lot of the times you're seeing the scare zones more often and spending more time in it. It just naturally happens. And if your lineup isn't very good, and the houses can't save it, like it really affects things. Because I think a lot of times there are years where the zones weren't great, but the houses were stellar, so it didn't matter. But if you can't do the houses often, and you're stuck with the scare zones, which we've been sort of on a downtrend with scare zones. If we're still going on that downtrend, I hope we're not, but I don't know how this year will be. I hate sounding like a negative because I'm super excited for the year and I'm excited for the announcements that are inevitably coming. But this would be a change that would, I think, hurt everything. For everybody will be hurt by this. Except Universal's maybe their wallets, maybe, even if there's less people in Express, the more single nights they get, the more money they'll make inevitably. I don't know. That's the only reason I could think they're doing this, is a money move, that they make more money. But I think the loss to guest experience is not worth that change. If you want to increase the prices to Express, do it. Like, they've already been increasing. If that's really what you need to do, that's fine. Whatever. But if the answer is we're not going to offer it at all, I just think you're asking for disaster here. But I don't know.
Yeah. They also better, if this happens, you better have more food options, more cashiers at the like there you need to have better staffing and more options outside of the houses then, because there's going to be a lot of overflow. Like, I don't know, I can imagine queues getting full and them having to shut down queues for standby. In that
Hmm.
case, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like Terrifier, 5 nights, I don't know what that standby is gonna look like if you're putting, like, more people. I don't even know what the percentage would be, like 20% more people that would be in Express every night? It's probably even more than that, but I don't know. I just worry.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this comes true. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Do we have any voicemails?
Nope.
All right. Well, you can always leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365 and on TikTok at HHN365pod. There's an amazing Discord community. The link is in the description. And we'll see you in the streets.